What's up, YouTube? It's Erica Krupin with Kroopin's Poopin Scoopin. In today's episode, we are going to chat with Jessica from Paws to Bark Incorporated. She is my Canadian pooper scooper friend from Canada, and I know you guys have heard me talk about her a lot over the years, and I'm very, very excited to chat with her. So if you're interested in hearing us chit-chat, stay tuned.
Hi, nice to meet you, Erica.
It's not like we chit-chat every single day.
No, I had to put that in there.
No, I'm really excited. I have a lot of questions to ask you, and I can get pretty rambunctious with my questions. So before we get started, I just want you to do a little blurb about yourself, introduce who you are, kind of what you're about, and what you want the audience to know right off rip.
Okay, so I own Paws to Bark Pooper Scoopers. We just became incorporated this year, and this is now going into our year 13 come January. So super excited for that. We've grown a lot over the years, and we also started way before all this technology. So I'm sure there's going to be a bit of talk about that because it's not that easy. So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, what we're going to chat about. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this little chit chat with us because we talk every day.
All day, every day on Marco Polo. And that's been the coolest app. And it's been really cool to develop the relationship with you. Because like I said before, you're in Canada, I'm in the United States. And
technically we're only like 3 hours or so away. But for somebody like me, 3 hours is like if you're in Toronto and you're driving to Toronto, in Toronto, it's 3 hour drive. Like you're not going anywhere. If there's any Canadians watching, they know Toronto traffic doesn't go anywhere. So it's like 3 hours for, you and I, it's not a big deal, but yeah. I mean, we've met many times, so it's not that hard.
Yeah. And you took me to Toronto over the summer and that was really cool. The, is it what is it? Towers? Yeah. And that place was crazy busy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, a lot of people heading down that way, especially in the summer. I mean, it's busy all the time. I don't really venture that way much, but yeah, no, it was so cool because I haven't been there in years. And I'm like, I'll just take you. We'll both act like we don't know what we're doing.
No, we had a good time. And you don't service out that way, do you?
No. I have no interest in that. Again, if I had, a lot of time in my day, maybe an extra 3 or 4 hours, if I want to sit in that traffic going that way and home, I do service only up until Oakville, Milton, which is like, it's very close to Toronto, but it's not like in that direct area because no, I'm too far for that.
Yeah, you're more of a country gal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of want to tell the audience and how we met. So my perspective. So when I first started my business, I was nervous and I did a lot of research and I was only finding dudes that were in the industry. And I'm like, there's got to be other female pooper scoopers. And then I signed up for that pet waste removal group and I seen you post in there. So of course I had to creep on your page and I was like, oh, she looks like a Barbie doll. What's she about? You were into jewelry because you were very fancy. You were into makeup. You had the blonde hair. You dressed cute, but you also were killing it in the poop scooping game. So I was like, let me shoot my shot. So I sent you a DM and I want to know what your thought was when I was just like slid into your DM. Like, what's up? I'm from America and I'm a pooper scooper.
My thought was like, oh, great. What does she want? There we go. Here comes someone else that's gonna, think like, oh, okay, well, she's gonna help me and give me all the ideas, all the facts, and I'm just gonna like take it and run. And I was like, where are you from? For one, because people also lie. If you want to know, they could be my direct competitor and just say, oh yeah, I'm in the States. And then I give you all my information and off you go and start a business right next door.
No, yeah. It was definitely, kind of next door, but next door. Yeah. 3 hours away, right?
Next door, 3 hours, still.
No, but I was very grateful that you warmed up to me and we developed the relationship. Because like I said before, we chit chat pretty much every single day and you've been a huge staple in my business. So I truly appreciate you.
Yeah, I try to help whenever I can. And yeah, it's actually been an interesting journey, I will say, for both of us.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. The industry has, has the industry changed since? So let's get into it. So you said you've been in business for 13 years.
Going on 13, yeah.
Going on 13. And when you first started, I remember you telling me that you had a landline. So tell me a little bit about that when you got started.
Yeah, so this is going way back. So there was no social media. I mean, Facebook was just starting. So I started with a website. I was putting flyers up on, here you can put them on certain mailboxes, light poles, the ones that are like those big wooden ones. And I'd get a staple gun and I would just staple them all on there. So I used to do that. And yeah, there wasn't really a lot of options. I was in the yellow pages. I mean, that was the thing back then, right? It's the basic stuff. And yes, I did have a landline. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. So I was like, okay, well, when I come home, I'll just, go in the answering machine and see if I got any messages. At that time, it was fine. It wasn't like a huge thing. And it was really, really slow for me to start because there was only one other company in my city. And he was like the guy at that time. Let's just say at that time, he was the guy. But yeah, it's kind of like you're starting at a bottom and starting something that nobody has ever heard about and nobody knows. And you're trying to figure out, how am I going to promote this and get people when there's really not a ton of options and I don't want to spend a lot of money. So that's kind of how that started.
So would you say that creating awareness has been one of the biggest challenges with business, is just letting people know this exists?
Yeah. And that was my main focus for this year and next year, is still creating the awareness. If I was to say how many established pooper scooper companies, because I do a lot of research, as you know, are in the whole province of Ontario, I can probably count on both hands. And those are probably, I may be going a little bit over. I'm talking like really established, probably under 5, like big companies under 5.
Yeah. And it's so different here because, I mean, I've told you, there's probably 20 or 30 companies that are local just to me.
Well, it's the franchise too, where we don't really have that here. We do have companies that have, say again, there's a big company in Ontario and they kind of expand, but they have just scoopers out in different cities. They're not actually like a legit franchise. And that's how I started. It was when I researched different companies. The first one that popped up was Pet Butler. And I was like, what is Pet Butler? I'm interested. And I was researching it and finding out like how profitable it is. I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea. Because at that time I was not working. I quit 2 jobs. And I was like, what to do with my life? What to do? Guess maybe pick up dog poop. Well, let's see what happens.
Was there a lot of information on the internet when you were doing research?
No. Again, and the issue I had is everything I would find was like in the States.
Yeah.
So again, being Canadian, everything is different. People here don't really have, I know that from what I see, is a lot of services. It's not like, and we've talked about this, where you are, everyone has landscapers. And, other people they just hire people to do stuff. Here, I've noticed it's not like that. Everyone does their own stuff. If you want to cut your grass, all the neighbors are out cutting their own grass. Like
and
some
different
landscapers, there are, service people, but it's not as popular because people just do it themselves.
Yeah, it's not the American way, because we have somebody to do our laundry, hang up our Christmas lights, clean our houses, landscape, everything. Anything that you want, you can hire it out here, which is nice.
Yeah, and like we have that, but it's not very common. Like you won't see a lot of people getting professionals to put Christmas lights up. You get some, but it's like kind of rare still to have that. But, it's again, something new and it's bringing the awareness, and same with this business. It's a bit of a struggle. Like it's a struggle, but it's come to a point where I'm like, this is going in the right direction. And I know it's going in the right direction because when I look at everything and our numbers and, how many trucks we have, we just moved into a new place because we needed the room for the trucks. It's going the way it should go. Yeah. And you've seen it. You've seen quite a bit over, I think it's been about 3, going on almost 4 years next year. You've seen a lot. I mean, it's a journey for both of us. I've seen you from right in the bottom.
Yeah. From that little cobalt.
Yeah. That first YouTube video there when you got 50 people and you're like, oh my God, 50 people. I'm like, oh, okay, good for you.
Hey, I was excited, and But it's just like you started your business, you had somewhat of a vision and you just kept at it. And that's how I was with my YouTube channel and like my poop scooping company. It's almost like you don't exactly know what you're doing, but you do. And you're just putting the pieces together a little bit at a time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I know you've kept it pretty basic. That's your word. Your word is like basic. So when you got started and when you started this business, did you have a plan or were you just like, I'm just going to throw it together?
Yeah, pretty much nothing. I just kind of tried some stuff. You know, I tried the most easiest way and anything that was free.
That's what I want to lean into because you are very much, you like to keep things as tight as possible. And I am a little bit different. You know, I like to spend and try different things. So do you want to talk about trying to move your business forward, but not spend an arm and a leg doing that?
Yeah, I think the thing is a lot of people are so set on the technology and, you know, Google ads, SEO, Facebook, and a lot of this stuff that you need to try doesn't really cost you anything. Obviously, word of mouth, you know, putting out flyers, going to local businesses, doing, you know, like being involved in the like SPCA or your Humane Society, whatever you guys have, wherever you are. Just getting in the community, like finding a landscaper, talking with them, sending them information, do a mass email to all the landscapers, all the tree companies, all your vets, all your groomers. Like that costs you nothing and you get something in return. So like there's a lot of things you can do. I think just people also don't want to spend the time thinking like, oh, well, why should I do that? I'm just going to make a Facebook ad. Easy. I'll get a few people out of that. It's like, yeah, but you're not going to get a bunch of people all the time. Like we just did a parade recently, as you know. And I don't know. I mean, it was fun. Did we get anyone out of it? No. Do I expect that? Nope. Going in, I knew we wouldn't get anybody. But it's that repetitiveness where now they're going to see us somewhere else. They're going to keep seeing it. They, you know, they were saying the name. They got pictures. It's all about the awareness, again, which is what I'm working on. And everyone had fun. Like we all had fun. I was freezing and cold, but it was fun.
Yeah, you look like you had fun. And the dancing dog, right?
Yes, yes.
I love that. I have not done a parade, but that's definitely a motivation for me to try to do something like that next year.
Something different, right? Just to try something.
Do you ever struggle having to get out of your like comfort zone and having to like reach out to people and talk to people?
I don't like the phone, so yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
well, the phone for me is just I don't like to be on the spot.
Yeah.
So when someone would ask me like, "Oh, what's your price for this?" or "What is this? What day can you come?" I feel like I have to answer them right away. I don't want to be like, "Oh, can you hold for a second?" Because usually I'm doing something or like I'm in the truck, I'm working. So it's like, oh, I have to hurry and like tell them. And then I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So no, I don't like the phone. I'll just usually like not answer and then text them, be like, you know, this is Pasta Bark. I got like a message or whatever you called. How can I help you today? Now I do answer the phone. I'm not going to say I don't, but I don't.
Right, but there's times where you can't, and then that you implementing that and sending the text message allows you to have that buffer time so you can think about it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty fast. I don't let people wait usually ever. Like if you send me a message, I will instantly respond, usually within so many minutes. Same with email. I don't let people hanging. I just like, oh, okay, respond. But then sometimes I do it too fast. Then I was like, oh, dang, I shouldn't have said that because that happens too. I don't read everything. So we're working on it.
But at least you respond back to people. And that's something that is an issue in the service industry is people just responding back, answering the phone, shooting that text message. So I think by you doing that and anybody else listening to this, just that part of customer service is going to set you further than the majority.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, if I was looking for a service or looking for anything, I would not be just messaging or calling one person. I would call a few. If that one didn't answer, I'm going to the next. If that person answers, I'm probably going to go with them because I don't know if that other person is even in business. They didn't answer me and someone else did.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it is like, well, if you answer them, the chance of them probably saying no, where they're going to look around is probably going to be slim because you answered them.
Yeah. And especially if they need that service done, like a lot of times if somebody's calling you for dog waste, it's urgent. They're like, I need it done like now. You've been there where they're like, can you come today? Like right now? And you're like, what?
Time.
People are so funny. But going back to when you started, did you have a support system around you when you told people like, hey, I'm gonna start picking up dog poop? How was that?
I think everyone was supportive. I think the issue was no one really thought it would go where it's at today. And I think even myself was just like, oh, I needed like a job. Like I had 2 jobs, full-time and part-time. I quit both of those because I was getting screwed around and yada, yada. And, I always wanted to do like a management position. So I was like, I'll try this. And then it was like, I remember we were at a Christmas party for my old work. We were there and my old boss was there. And like, they were nice people. It wasn't them. It was the people higher up that was the issue. And I was so excited. I'm like, he's like, yeah, how's it going? Picking up poop and everything. I'm like, I got 30 clients. I was so excited. Like I have 30. And he's like, oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got 30. Now I'm like, 30. Wow, that's very little. But back then it was a huge deal because it took me so long to even just get 30 people.
How long did it take you as a customer?
The first customer,
yeah.
I opened in June, and the first customer I got was in, I think, November.
Were you getting discouraged, or were you just like, I'm just going to keep at it? I'm going to keep trying.
I kept trying. The thing is that they were actually on my street, but the other side at that time. So they just saw a flyer and there we go. And I just kept pushing.
And that's good because you put the flyer out that probably cost you little to nothing, but some time, and you were able to get your customer. And then that starts to build momentum. Because I'm sure when you got that first customer, you're like, heck yeah, this is great. I'm doing this.
Yeah, just got to keep going. And there we go. It's like the fire.
Yeah, for sure. As of right now, when I talk to you, you're a fairly confident businesswoman and confident person. Would you say that you were confident right away, or did it take time to kind of build up your confidence as a entrepreneur?
I think it just took a little bit of time just to more adapt with different kinds of people. I think that was it, is I took a lot of things very personal in the beginning. I was like, well, why don't they want my service? And, if someone had an issue, I thought it was like, how can I fix this? And it was something I had to learn, like, it's not me. Even when I had to get rid of somebody, I'm like, it's not you. It's all about business. So I had to kind of separate that. And once you do that, so much better. Business, personal, totally 2 different things.
I would say that becoming a business owner has definitely like changed me as a person. Like I look at everything very differently now. It's all,
oh yeah,
how am I going to approach this? It's more strategic. You can't just be willy-nilly out here because you're not going to get things done if you don't have a plan.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. And sometimes I overplan. A lot of times I overplan. And that's something that you've really helped me with, is like, tone it down a little bit. Let's not do all the things. Let's just do some of the things.
Yeah. One at a time.
Yeah. What would you say now, like, what is one of your bigger challenges now that you have grown and it's not just you scooping anymore, now that you have staff?
Making sure everything runs smoothly all the time, especially like today we had, ISO, and I had to make sure safety was first. Mm-hmm. If it was myself and I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm fine, I'll go out. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's yourself. If I fall on ice, oh, well. But if they fall on ice, if one of my trucks got damaged, if they got an accident driving to my house to pick up the truck, like, yeah, it changes things. So I think that's it, is now like other people are put in front and you have to make sure they're happy as well and healthy and not injured. So 3 big things.
Yeah, it's a lot of spinning plates. It's a lot different when you transition from a solo scooper, because it's just you, into like, what are the needs of them? Because you want to make sure they're happy so they stay with you. And especially you have great staff and you want to treat them right. And I know you want them to be with you for a long time.
Oh yeah. They're not going, I don't think.
You're like, heck no, they're not going anywhere. So what would you say that you truly love about this business? And then what is something that you were like, you don't love and you wish was a little different?
Well, obviously everything about the business, like, it goes both ways. Like, it's like a love-hate. Like I actually do like scooping, but then some days I hate scooping. I like, the bookkeeping to like a certain point, and then I don't like it. So everything kind of has both. I can't really just pick one. Obviously I do like spring cleans. I will say that's probably one of the best parts is just the whole spring season. If I was to say something I didn't like, anything winter would probably be on my list. Considering this is my 12th winter, scooping, I'm just, a little over that. But
did the smell of dog poop ever bother you? Like even in the beginning?
Nope. I've had issues with more like buckets where people would fill up a bucket or a container and like, can you dispose of this? And it would be sitting there. So I made sure I always ate something. I think I mentioned that to you. I was like, make sure you eat something before you go scoop. Because there was a few times I was like, I feel nauseous. I was like, I should have eaten something. But it's those buckets that have been sitting for like, months and months, and you open them in the heat and you're like, oh, why? Why do you do this? And I talk to myself and say that. I'm like, why? But now I know that because people got, cameras everywhere in their yards. But back then, no one had cameras. So I could just say that. I'm like, why?
When you were talking about that, I was starting to get nauseous because I have had my fair share of buckets too, where the bucket, it just comes out and punches you in the face.
The smell's going to start to get into you. So let's stop that one. Because everyone else is probably like, oh, Erica, stop. I'm all going to like exit out of the video.
Well, for anybody that is wanting to do a pooper scooper business, if you can't handle the smell of poop and poop grosses you out, this is going to be difficult for you. But you were talking about when I asked you about what you liked and what you didn't like, you talked about bookkeeping a little bit. What tools do you use to keep your business and your life organized?
Oh, I knew this question was in there because I saw the questions. So I do not use a CRM at all. And I have not used one since day one. I used to be a pen and paper person until you came around and you're like, hey, look, do this. And I was like, maybe I should download an app. Because again, I'm very simple in how I run everything. So I was like, all right, I downloaded actually an invoice app. And so far it's been really good. I like that I can see my numbers. It works for me. So we use just an invoice app. Right. So then I use the invoice app and I use Circuit. We use that just for like our routes. And we actually print the routes off every day for the employees. They take them, they write notes and whatever on there and their hours. And it's worked for us. I spend about probably almost a month, and I go through every single person when I invoice and I fine tune it. So I will update it. I'll, check their payments, make sure, they have 2 dogs, it's still 2 dogs. They kind of go through it all. And I like that. I like that I can go over everything and check it out myself. But,
and I'm sure that gives you peace of mind too, knowing that you're able to see everything. And you said it takes you 1 day out of the month. So you're processing, everything that you're processing just in 1 day, which is really nice. And you said that you're using the app.
Accounting stuff that I do like on my end, because obviously we have an accountant and she just does, payroll and everything else. It's very straightforward. The only thing I have to do is just send reminders to tell people like, hey, your payments are due. But I think a lot of us have, I know you have that. Mm-hmm. It's just, basic stuff. But everything is pretty smooth running. I don't spend a lot of time doing like office work. And that's another reason why I'm out scooping, because I have a lot of time. I don't want to just sit there and be bored.
Yeah, neither of us are bored people. No. Like we're busybodies. This is a good time is I'm going to go ahead and plug Jobber, because Jobber is my CRM of choice. That's where I do my invoicing, my routing, my customer communications, and everything that has to do with the business side of my business is run through Jobber. So if you're interested in checking it out, click my link down in the description and you will get a free 2-week trial and then a discount if you decide to sign up.
And I don't use Jobber, but
you do not.
If you're interested, you can go to Erica's link and sign up. She would appreciate that. So
thank you. No, and you use Circuit, because I remember I used Circuit when I first got started. Not first, but after using a couple, and it was great. I loved it until I upgraded to Jobber and had everything kind of combined.
It's a lower cost. Like my invoice app that I use in Canada, it's like $6 a month. And it keeps track of
Ooh.
everything. It shows me year to year. It shows everyone bills. They can pay online. So for me, I like it. It's invoice simple if anyone was interested. I had a few people asking me about it before, but that's what it is. It's orange and it's got a check mark. So if you're looking
Nice.
for a really cheap option or you're just starting and you don't want to use a CRM, that's probably something you can check out. I know somebody does use it. There is a scooper on there. I'm not sure if it's, I want to say Angela, but I'm not sure if it's her. Somebody else does use it on that group and they liked it. So, okay.
That's good. And I think it's important for the business owner individually to figure out what works best for them and not just use something else because it's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, there's quite a few companies that I know, like even another bigger one, they don't use a CRM either. I mean, if it works, they use something I've never heard of before. And I'm like, if you need to do something different and it's, setting everything fine and your books are good, I'm sure.
Yeah. Whatever works, there's really no rules. And that was a huge transition for me coming from corporate America to a business owner, is realizing there were no rules. I could make up the rules. And so that's a huge mind shift change.
Yeah. And I make up rules, but I make sure I go by my rules too. Yeah. As you know, I'm quite hard.
Yeah.
And make sure, my rules are set. And it's like, okay, I have to follow those rules too. That's why they're there. And I think though, even though it sounds weird, it's helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've seen how you're kind of working towards something similar, very routine. Like you get up at this time, you leave around this time, every day. Once you start doing that, it kind of sets the day. It'll prevent you from being just, I don't know, too laid back. Maybe that's the whole term. Where you're just like, meh, I'll do it later. And then it doesn't get done.
Yeah, you wake up before Jesus. I know you wake up so early. And that's something that I've struggled with. But what I've realized, it's the earlier you get stuff started, when people aren't awake, interrupting you can get so much more done in the morning, because the later you get started, things happen, traffic, people are calling. And next thing you know, you're 2-3 hours behind schedule.
Yeah, well, traffic's the big one for me because the direction going in every single day, well, except for one day, there's traffic. So that's why I get up so early, is to beat the traffic. And I want to be home early. I don't want to be out late. So, and if it's spring or I had extra time, I could fit stuff in because my route's already done. It's noon or it's 1 o'clock. I have time to put more people in.
And that's smart, thinking ahead.
The better it is that you can kind of, figure it out from there.
That's good. That's good. All right. So what do you think your next step for business is?
Well, I'm probably going to get another truck. So that'll be another one added in, and another employee, hopefully.
Ooh.
What we're thinking, because the way the next year is looking is going to be pretty big, is what we're thinking. So, I mean, who knows? Nobody knows, right? You can just kind of try it and see. But just by our numbers this year, I think next year will be good. So I'm just not looking forward to looking for another truck. You know how expensive they are.
Oh, yeah. And trucks are just crazy.
Yeah, you get a truck and it's super old and rough bucket, and it's 25,000 Canadian dollars. Remember, it's a lot more over here.
Canada's so expensive.
Yeah, well.
It's crazy. Well, with all the success and everything that you've been having, what do you do to celebrate those wins?
Oh, I go out for supper and I eat chocolate.
You guys have the best chocolate.
Oh, yeah, you know it. Pretty much all I could think of really is, or, just buy something. I mean,
why not?
Yeah, there's not really anything I can else think about. Just normal things.
That's the thing too. So your prices are right. You got things running. You're able to make good money. So you're able to treat yourself and pay yourself accordingly. A lot of business owners out there in other industries, they're not breaking even. They're not even making enough money to pay themselves because they haven't taken the time to get their business in order to be profitable.
Well, I think a lot of it is too many people start a business and they want it to just make money and they don't want to put the work into, or they just want to hire people and be like, oh, I'll just sit back and have, 5 employees do all this work. It's no, I still work in the business. I know people are always here we go, I'm going to say it. You know what I'm going to say? Not to work in your business, work on your business. And they have different wording how to say it. And yes, I do agree to a point, but I also think it's balanced. Some really good business owners that I know that I see often, like say a landscaper or a restaurant owner, they work at their business. And it's not just because, oh, they have to. It's because one, they enjoy it. They love it. This is what they want to do. If I want to be a cook and I'm going to work in a restaurant, I'm there because I love what I do. I love making people happy. They, they're enjoying my food. You enjoy it. And the same with scooping. I think it's just a different category. I love being outside. I love being with dogs. I love being alone. Like, there's no one that bugs me. I don't have a boss over me. Like, I do enjoy that stuff. I limited my scooping because it was getting too much. But I still do enjoy it. I think if I was just sitting at home all day watching TV, like what kind of life, like what are you doing with your life? Like, why aren't you out there? Plus with us moving, I kind of like the money.
Yeah.
We got to put that in there too, right? Like, not going to lie, I do like taking a lot of that money and putting that in my pocket.
Yeah. When you work in the business, you can pay yourself a lot more. And yeah. I know when I pulled myself out of the business and I was working less, I got so lazy. I was unmotivated. And that's when my business was getting the most complaints because I wasn't in it like I should have been. Yeah. And I let things slip that I shouldn't have let slip.
We're also not experiencing everything and seeing it for what it's worth and seeing how things change or checking out yards. Like, so many business owners they sit back too much and let other people handle it. They take themselves out completely. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's, your own thing. But like, that's just, I don't know. I always thought business should be running and you should be enjoying what you're doing. Like, why start a business when you don't want anything to do with it? Like my aunt too, she owns a salon and she's over 60. She's still out there. She does permanent makeup. Like, she's still putting permanent makeup and lasering people's legs. It works. She enjoys it. She's active. Like, instead of sitting at home watching soap operas. I mean, it sounds good.
But what if you could have your business running completely by itself and then you are just like,
that's my plan.
On vacation.
I got about 5 years. And it's not just that. I think it's more as getting older. I'm starting to think like my body is not going to be able to function as much, especially doing spring cleans. Like, it's going to start to take a toll. So and that's why I'm stepping back. It's more like, I can't overload this. Like, as you know, I get like vertigo issues and it's been becoming more often. So I'm like, whoa, it's like stress. Like, I need to just chill. So yes, I need to like step back a little bit, but I still do enjoy it. Like, spring cleans come, I'm right out there. I'll be out there, sun up or
sundown,
right down to the time for my bed.
Yeah, with the little headlamp. And with spring cleans,
I use my phone flashlight.
Oh yeah, you're wild. I should have gifted you a headlamp.
I should have. Well, 6 months is her birthday, so
yeah, there we go. So not all days are going to be good. Some days are going to be bad. So what do you do to decompress when it gets a little too crazy?
Depends if it's like spring, because that sounds crazy to me. I make sure I have a hot bath. As you know, I like my baths with Epsom salts, lavender, and a Diet Coke, because I do love my Diet Coke, and some chocolate.
Always the chocolate. No, that sounds good.
I'll get some chocolate and I'm good. That's it. Maybe watch some The Office, because I love The Office. And that's my relaxing. Yeah.
I love it. What do you think drives you? Because you're very motivated to do a lot of things.
I think I've always been like that. From a long time ago. I don't know. I think it's just, I changed a lot over the years and I kind of want to keep pushing it. Because now I'm not that person I used to be. I used to be like very quiet. People would be like, oh my God, does that girl even talk? Like that kind of girl. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up. Like, it's changed like drastically. And I'm like, this is good. Like, I just, got to keep going. I think motivation right now is obviously, I mentioned, because we moved and the future plans of what we want to do to our property. We want a farm and all this stuff. And I'm like, pool, hot tub, and all these animals, like, it keeps going. So for that list to keep going and for me to cross those off, I need to make the money and make it happen. And only by doing that is work harder and smarter and keep it simple.
Yep, keep it small and keep having those goals to keep trying to achieve. If you could go back to younger Jess and give her one piece of advice, what would you give her?
It'll be, don't worry, quiet girl. One day you're going to be loud and annoying. No, I'm not annoying, but it's just going to be like, I was that person that I never thought would do a lot in life because I was always like super quiet. I never thought I would be a business owner, which is crazy. I never thought I would move to the country and have all these trucks and all this stuff because of work, because I quit my 2 jobs that I did love. I was in the makeup field. I did love those jobs and took a chance. And it's all about risk. I'm a huge risk taker.
And I think you and I relate so well because I was the same. I didn't think I was going to be a business owner. I also was in the, makeup industry doing sales and you're like, what?
Well, we also mentioned too, we were never good at school.
Nope. Never really good at school. It wasn't really our thing, but
nope. Almost, just passed.
Here we are. We're doing it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you're pretty active on social media. I see your stuff all over the place. Where can the listeners find you?
Well, obviously on our website, which is paws2bark.com, and it's Paws, Paws, because people think it's a different pause, like stopping pause,
right?
But it's not. Facebook, which it's a weird name on there, but it's Your Scoopers. Again, this was like 13 years ago. They didn't have a name. Anyways, so that's Facebook. Instagram, I believe it's like paws2bark.pooperscoopers. It's all in there. If you just type it in, you will find it. I don't do Twitter anymore, but I have an account. I don't do TikTok on my business. So really, there's only 3 places you can find us: website, Instagram, Facebook.
I will include all of that information. I'll include it in the show notes. So if you want to keep up to date with Jess, you can check that out. But I'm happy that you don't have a TikTok because people, like for your business, people are nasty on TikTok. That's a whole other breed.
I don't really know.
That's crazy. But no, that stuff was really informative. I want to have a little bit of fun. So I'm going to ask you some little goofy questions. What's your favorite Tim Hortons donut?
Well, I know yours. And yours is a basic donut.
Very basic.
Chocolate on the top.
Chocolate dip.
Yeah, you are a dip. If I was to get something, usually it would be a double chocolate. So it's, for those that don't know Tim Hortons, it's chocolate and chocolate, because I mentioned how much I like chocolate.
That is your thing.
Or we go Canadian and we get the Canadian maple. So there's a maple dip and there's Canadian maple. Canadian maple's got like a custard filling. But if it's Christmas time, we get the candy cane donut. And it only comes out at Christmas, and not every place has it. And that is a double chocolate with candy cane bits on top.
Ooh, it sounds pretty. I wouldn't eat it. I
know, but it's
eat the regular donut. Okay. If you had to listen to the same song on repeat for 23 hours, what would it be?
Well, I just got a new one. So I always saw this like TikTok one. It's this Belle Mercy, and it's this little kid. It's like a DJ, and they're at a ski slope thing. This little girl, she's got like these goggles on and this headset, and she's like dancing like this to the beat. You gotta look it up. I gotta send it to you. It's that one remix. It just came out on Spotify. It's like Belle Mercy remix. I forget what it's even called. And I just
when we get off here, send it to me.
It's only like 2.5 minutes, and I'll play it, and then I'll rewind it and play it back. I mean, anything for me, like house, dance, EDM. I don't like sad. I don't like country. Don't like 90s, sometimes some Britney Spears.
Ooh, I love some Britney. That's a classic. That's like our age.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of a serious one. What's your thoughts on South Park comedy duo, Terrence and Phillip?
Well, first of all, I was watching a video of them the other day because I was like, oh, wait, let me do a refresher. Because I was never really like a huge South Park fan. I watch a little bit, but I know who they are. I think they're funny. I mean, come on, it's funny stuff. Gotta laugh at that. And
whenever
I was with the song, because I know you always sing that song, Blame Canada.
blame Canada, blame Canada. What are we blaming Canada for? I don't know.
I don't know. We didn't do anything. We're the nice ones over here.
Yeah, you guys are so polite.
I know.
Yeah, you go first. No, you go first.
Yeah, we got all the good chocolate.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. All right, Jess, that was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me on the episode of The Scoop. Do you have any last words for me or for the listeners?
Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. And if you're Canadian, hey. Or I should say, wait, hey. I guess for you, I mean, obviously I'm excited to be the first one. I mean, am I surprised? No.
No.
Obviously, I would hope I was the first one. If I wasn't, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Delete me off Marco?
I would delete you. No.
Like, how much time I've invested in you? What the heck?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, oh, geez. But I guess my final words to you would be like, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to talk after this. Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. Talk to you later. Talk to you tomorrow. Talk to you every day.
Every day. Well, I truly appreciate you being my first guest and my first interview. This was really fun. I'm very honored. So thank you so much.
Still there. I mean, my phone's dying, but we made it. It pushed through.
We did. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all of the things. And until next time, bye.
Bye.